Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMTV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by uppercutchops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those massive and gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably the best you ever have as well. Check them out at uppercutchops.com. That's uppercutchops.com, or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100 for uppercutchops.com. All right, welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, CBS, NBC Digital, and independent affiliates in select markets where applicable. Thanks for joining us. Same thing with Hotel Television. And, of course, on all of our streamers, Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeart, Stitcher, Deezer, Libsyn, plus a whole bunch of others. You can find us everywhere. And even on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Fun group. Talk about your favorite foods, restaurants, and recipes. Make some friends. Have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right. Now we are at the all-star break in Major League Baseball. And it's not the halfway point. It's actually a little bit over the halfway because really halfway is what, 81 games, right? 162 games. But as it stands, they have played essentially, we'll call it 95 games. Some teams have played 97 games, 95, 96, whatever. Well, and as we go to the break, the teams that you thought were going to be there, some of them were there, some of them are not there. And we start in the National League where, needless to say, the back-to-back world champion LA Dodgers are exactly where you thought they would be at 61-36. They are 25 over 500 and essentially just about unchallenged in the National League West, although they are coming off a 3-game home. Well, they were swept. I would say a sweep. It was the Arizona Diamondbacks going into LA, into Chavez Ravine, and really taking it to the Dodgers. Well, and they're still 11.5 back. 2 games over 500 being Arizona, playing decent ball, but 11.5 back against the Dodgers. You might as well be back by 100 games. Padres, they sit 12.5 back, playing 500 ball. The Giants, they are playing really bad ball. They're 14 games under 500, 19.5 back with less than a half season to go. And it doesn't really look good for them, just like the Rocks. But guess what? The Rockies are playing good ball as opposed to what they were doing last year. Yes, they're 20 games under, but they're in ball games this year. There's a difference. The Rocks are about 500 at home, and everybody in the division basically finished their last 10 games at either 5-5 or 6-4 or 4-6. So there's not too much going on. There's a lot of cruise control going on in the National League West, but you figured the Dodgers weren't going to be there, and you thought the D-backs were going to be competitive, but you actually thought the Padres were going to be more competitive. Well, that hasn't really turned out that way. But yet there is another 75 odd games, whatever, left in the season. Who the hell knows what's going to happen there? But it looks like the Dodgers showing the way at 25 over. Not too much is going to change there. There will be a jockeying between second and third, but that's about it. Maybe some kind of a struggle for a wild card berth. I'm not really sure. Over at the National League Central, well, we figured the Brewers would be on top. and the Brewers are on top. Figured the Cubs to be right there, and they're 5 games back, and they're playing pretty good ball as well. They are 12 over, but it happens to be that the Brewers are 22 over. Brewers, a very consistent ball club. They are 11 over at home, and they are 11 over on the road. The Brewers are one of baseball's best teams, and the Cubs are lacking pitching. They're going to be looking for pitching at the trade deadline, no question. They're going to need it. They need starting pitching. I think they need 2 starters, and they probably could use a little bit of bullpen help. I think they've got all the hitting they need. It's just pitching, pitching, pitching. The Cardinals, 5 over, probably the surprise of the National League Central. The Pirates are kind of where we expected them to be, out of the cellar. We actually expected the Cardinals to be in last place and the Reds to be in third, but it's the Reds bringing up the rear, 9 under. They have no leadership on that team. And it's, in my opinion, it's time for Terry Francona to say, you know what? I'm going to hand this team off to somebody else that could probably do the job. And I believe Albert Pujols could be brought in there and lead that Cincinnati Red team to respectability. I mean, look, they're not out of it. They're not completely out of it yet, but they're fading fast. And they are 9 games under when the Brewers, the first place team, is 22 over. And that means the Reds are 15.5 back. The Reds are in trouble. But the Pirates are playing improved ball, and they're probably going to be buyers. And they did make a small trade at the Major League Baseball draft. So they did pick up a first baseman, and they really didn't need a first baseman. They got a utility guy. And they did pick up relief pitching and Isert from the White Sox. He was the key component in that. And so the White Sox, what they did was they turned around and they essentially traded for the draft pick for the Pirates, pick number 34. And they picked up Jim Thome's kid. And Landon Thome is almost like dear old dad, but he's built more like I would say more like a second baseman. Second baseman, maybe a third baseman. So the guy's got pro skills, and he's young still. So he'll sit in the system for a little while Rock Chalowski, who is the White Sox #1 pick, he's Major League Baseball ready right now. And so if something happens to Colson Montgomery at short, then you're going to have Luis Angel Acuna that will slip in there at short. Now, if he can't play or if they need something else or if there's another deal, well, guess what? The White Sox have a bunch of overachieving youngsters, and they don't know. They've never been there before. And so there's a chance that you might see one of the young kids pop up into big league baseball. So they did a really good job. But when I look at the Pirates, they're hanging around at 9.5 back, and they have won 7 of their last 10 games. But the Pirates are good enough. If they add a couple of pieces, they're good enough to make the postseason as a wild card team. Now, over in the National League East, it's really tightening up over there, and the Braves are just hanging on to their top spot, and they're 95 games in, 55-40, and they have a 2-game lead on the Phillies. Remember, the Phillies were virtually dead in the water. Then what did they do? They fired the manager. They brought in Donnie Baseball, and the Phillies are playing for Don Mattingly, and they only sit 2 games back. Yes, they're hosting the All-Star game and everything else and all the hype and whatnot. A couple of guys in the home run derby, and Harper and Kyle Schwarber. We're going to get to that in a minute. But the Phillies are playing really good ball right now, and they're winning more on the road than they are at home, but they're still above 500 at home, whereas the Atlanta Braves are doing the same thing. They're playing good ball, but don't look now. It's the Miami Marlins, 7 games over and only 4 games back. And the Marlins' only Achilles heel is that they don't play that well on the road, whereas the other teams do. And the team chasing Miami, right behind them, is the Washington Nationals. Yes, they're a game under 500. They only sit 8 back, and they have a lot of pieces. And don't be surprised if the Washington Nationals are busy at the trade deadline, because we sure as hell know that the New York Mets are going to be busy because they sit 16 back and they're 17 under 500 as we go to the break. The Mets are just a terrible baseball team. With all that talent, all those high-priced players, well, let's face it, the Mets stink. And so the Mets will be sellers, but everybody above them are likely buyers. What is the National needs? Who knows what the Nats need? But I'll tell you what, I don't pay that much attention to it, but they've got some really good pieces over there. In the same light, when you look at the American League East, I look at the Washington Nationals in the same light as I look at the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox are 2 under, actually 1 game less than Washington, and they're 10 game back, a half a game less than Washington over in the National League East. But the Red Sox are playing good ball. They've won 9 of their last 10, and just when you thought they were going to be sellers, not so fast. Maybe the Red Sox don't make any moves. Maybe they say, you know what? We're just going to stand fast. We're not going to do much because we're going to let the Yankees, at some point, they're going to falter because that's what the Yankees do. The Yankees are not playing good ball. Not at all. They sit 3 back of the Tampa Bay Rays, who have been in first place for a very long time and most of the season. So it's the Rays in first, the Yankees in second, the Red Sox a little bit distant third, but they play well on the road. The Orioles sit a game and a half behind the Red Sox. And in last place, it's the Toronto Blue Jays with that enormous, just like the New York Mets, with that enormous payroll. Back here in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus, and we're going to continue on with these standings. Then we're going to jump into the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Circus.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Ignite. We're ready for the fight. Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm the Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP studio. That's the AAMP Studios. That's right, AAMP Television Studios. Hey, listen, folks, this is live. I didn't think it'd happen. All right, this segment brought to you in part by your friends at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. They've been with us since the very beginning. Let's round of applause for them. All right. And a big welcome back to everybody listening in on all of our affiliates on radio, including our friends in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, in the greater Atlanta market, and that's 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, all the way down to our friends in Columbus, Georgia, right down the road, actually, over to Montgomery, Alabama, listening in. Everybody listening at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday on WAD, right there out of Auburn. That's War Eagle, our friends in Auburn, Alabama. WAD, home of the Atlanta Braves, up and down the Midwest, out to the West Coast. Everybody listening in along Interstate 15 on their drive between fabulous Las Vegas and sunny Southern California on KNAC, Pure Rock, 94.9 FM and 96.9 FM. Legendary rock station. If you don't know who they are, check them out. KNAC, folks. KNAC. All right. Up and down the West Coast, up to Anchorage, Alaska. Yes, we have friends up there, too, listening in all the way down to CBS Sports 1500 KHKA over in Honolulu. That's home of the 49ers, home of the New York Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus everybody else on all of our television affiliates in select markets. Thanks for joining us there, as well as Hotel TV and all of our streamers, plus Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check that group out, folks. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. I started that group a couple of years ago, and it's great. I mean, there's no spam. There's no garbage posts. It's all real stuff, all real people. And if you spam it, I kick you out. It's real simple. So have some fun with it. Make some friends in all four corners of the earth. For all you flat earthers out there, oh yeah, we want to make sure that we include you too. But nonetheless, have some fun with Chicago Food Favorites and just talk about your favorite foods, restaurants, recipes. Doesn't matter where they're at. Have some fun. All right, back to baseball. I left off with the American League with the Rays showing the way at the All-Star break, and they sit 3 games above the New York Yankees and 18 games over 500. The Rays are playing good. I mean, they're playing really good. You know who else is playing good over the American League Central? Tandem, back and forth. When one wins, the other one wins. The other one loses, the other one loses. It's the White Sox just percentage points ahead of the Cleveland Guardians. The White Sox, yes, the team who lost over 100 games in the last 2 seasons. They've been stockpiling up all those draft picks, and the kids are playing. They've had 12 rookies make debuts this season. 12 rookies, and they sit atop the American League Central. Yes! That's the sign of good things to come. And what are they doing? They're even getting richer at the Major League Baseball draft as well. And will they be buyers? I think they're going to be buyers at the deadline. They're going to be looking for bullpen help. And they'll probably be looking for a starting pitcher as well. And I believe that Freddie Peralta will be available from the New York Mets. And I think that would be or should be a target along with Logan Webb from the San Francisco Giants. And when we look at the trade draft, the White Sox have a lot of draft capital. And you look at the teams that are towards the bottom in their divisions. I mean, the San Francisco Giants, they need help. And Webb is not doing any good for that squad right now. And Webb would be a really nice fit on the south side. And I don't think he'd be too terribly expensive. Same thing with Freddie Peralta. Freddie would be a pretty good pickup because he would eat innings. And listen, Freddie's got 4 versions of a fastball. And so it's not like Freddie's going to be on the shelf a lot. He eats innings. He doesn't really get hurt. And he is a wily veteran as well, just like Logan Webb. I think either one of those 2 guys are a really good match. I don't think Joe Ryan's going to be available. Because even if they do, I think the Twins would want an enormous haul from a division foe. So I don't think that one's going to work out. I believe Joe Ryan's going to end up on the north side of Chicago with the Cubs. That to me makes a little bit more sense. Now, the Twins are an interesting group. And Joe Ryan, again, he's with the Twins. The Twins sit 3 games back. They've been playing really good ball, 1 game under. But the big question is, what do? Do they sell off Joe Ryan? Do they sell off Ryan Jeffers, who's a really good catcher? He's a very good hitting catcher as well. Do they sell off Byron Buxton? Brooks Lee? You have a good core of players there. Buxton's finally healthy. I think it's time to get rid of him. But the question is, what do you do if you're the Twins? And Tarek Skubal saying the same thing to the Detroit Tigers. Tigers sit 6.5 back. And recently they were on a nice winning streak. So they won 7 out of their last 10. But the Tigers are an interesting spot because they are 8 games under, but they're 6.5 back. And you ask, are the Tigers out of it? No, they're not. They have the most talent, I would say evenly spread talent on any team in the American League Central. They have offense, they have defense, they pitch the ball pretty well. Now remember, it was Skubal that was out on the shelf for, I want to say, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. And so the big question is now Skubal's back and he's pleading with the Tigers, don't make deals, don't sell, don't sell, don't sell. If anything, you should be buying. Well, maybe that's the case. The Tigers are certainly not out of it. And the Royals, I think the Royals are going to be sellers, but I don't think they're going to sell within the division. So the Royals will make deals, and I look for the Phillies and Royals to make some deals there. And I would suspect that you might see the Astros and the Royals make a deal or two. Now, that may make a little bit of sense. The question is who's going to be available. I would say Salvi Perez will be available because he was a part-time catcher, still plays first base, and a guy still hits the cover off the ball. Would they trade Bobby Witt? No. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be a Royal for life as I see it. But I think everybody else is available. Is Caglione, but people call him Caglione. It's not Caglione, it's Caglione. So is Jack going to be available? I think yes, he will be available. You never know what's going to happen. It's kind of the same situation in the American League West. The Rangers sit 1.5 games up on the Mariners, which both teams are really stinking it up. I mean, Seattle is 1 game under, and you could bet your ass Seattle is going to be buying. The question is, does Seattle turn around and buy Eugenio Suarez back from the Cincinnati Reds? That's the question. And something tells me in a crazy way that Suarez is going to go back to Seattle, where they were literally an out away or whatever from essentially going to the World Series. So the Mariners, they have the same good pitching, but they're not hitting the ball in the same way. And so Cal Raleigh was on the shelf for a long time. So now with the addition of Raleigh back, and if you bring back Suarez, who the fans like him, now that may be the deal that no one's talking about because the Reds are in the cellar right now. And it seems like the Reds need to make a deal. They really, and honestly, the Reds need to move Elly De La Cruz to center field in the same way that the Pittsburgh Pirates moved their Elly De La Cruz, which is O'Neal Cruz, because he made a lot of errors, just like Elly did. And so they moved him to center field because the guy's got a cannon in the first place, got a huge, huge arm, but he won't see as much action in center field, so he has less opportunity to make errors. Yes, he has a cannon, and yes, he makes great plays, but Elly makes a lot of errors. So maybe the Reds should go to school on what the Pittsburgh Pirates have done. But I would think that the Reds are going to be sellers. And the people they're going to hang on to, they're going to hang on to Sel Stewart. They got to hang on to him. They're going to hang on to Elly. And they'll probably hang on to Hunter Green. I think everybody else will be available. And Nick Lodolo, as a really good left-handed pitcher, would be a nice fit for a lot of teams. Of course, I'm not going to be selfish and say my favorite team, but I think Nick Lodolo is a drastically underrated lefty in the same way that Reed Detmers is in Anaheim. So looking at the balance of the American League West real quick, it's the Rangers and Mariners. And by the way, the Astros sit just 3 games back. They're sneaky good, and they're right there rebuilding on the fly. Watch and see if the Astros are not buyers. I think they're going to be buyers. And the question is, do the Astros make a deal with the New York Mets? Do the Astros make a deal with the Detroit Tigers? There's history between those teams. Does Tarek Skubal go to the Astros? I don't think so. I think he goes to the National League. And the ideal landing spot for him, of course, the Dodgers are going to want him. Dodgers get everybody. But it would make sense for him to go possibly to either the Cubs or to Philadelphia. Those teams make the most sense in the National League as you look up and down. But the Angels are going to be sellers. The A's have injured players. Nick Kurtz is on the shelf. He's not even starting the All-Star game. He's out. And I guess the question is, what are the A's going to do? They sit 8 back. They're not out of it, but they've lost 9 of their last 10. And the last 3, they were outscored by the White Sox 24-2. 24-2. The bats have gone silent. And with no Nick Kurtz in the lineup, the question is, who is the leader offensively on that squad? You'd want to say it'd be Lawrence Butler, but it's really Shane Langoliers. But is Langoliers going to be the catcher of the next 10 years for the Athletics? I think he is. And will the Athletics get creative? I know they brought up, or they're going to bring up, Leo DeVries. I'm curious to see what they're going to do beyond that, or do they start making deals? I don't think they're making deals. I think the A's stand pat. All right, back here in a few minutes on the Sports Circus. We're going to go into the All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, and whatnot when we come back from break. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Sports Circus. I'm the Ringmaster Cell, live from Las Vegas on the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests. Our prior guests are recorded shows, which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeart, Stitcher, Deezer, Libsyn, plus a whole bunch of others. Also, check out the partners page. Lots of great partners at thesportscircus.com. Musically, our favorite is Blue Oyster Cult. Click on that logo for Blue Oyster Cult right there at the partners page of thesportscircus.com, and it'll take you right to their tour page. Pick up tour tickets, great concert tickets, great shows. I've seen them many, many times. And of course, they're friends of the show. And in fact, at the top of the show, you probably heard Buck saying, "This is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult. You're listening to the Sports Circus." Hey, listen, folks. These guys have been doing it for decades. They are multi-platinum. No fix it in the mix, no auto-tune, no backing tracks, none of that crap. They get out there and they play it just like we do here at the circus. It's live. Anything can happen. And the one thing that we don't do is we don't fix it in the mix. You know why? Because I don't give a damn. If it's out there, it's out there. I'd rather be real than do some blasted nonsensical podcast and just fix everything. And frankly, I think that stinks. That's just my opinion. So the music of Blue Oyster Cult, I got to tell you, folks, they are just as good on recordings, whether it's an old LP or a CD or an MP3, just as they are live. That's how they sound. And what's cool is I remember sitting having lunch with Buck not too terribly long ago, and I said, "You're not tracking." He goes, "No, man." He said, "I just like to fly by the seat of my pants. So whatever we put out there, that's what's out there." And that's the cool thing about Blue Oyster Cult. So make sure you check them out. And also, while you're at the blueoystercult.com website, make sure you click on the merch. Lots of great merch, hats and t-shirts and whatnot. Listen, I'm a fan and those are my friends. And I'm just happy to be in the same building on the same page as them because they have been doing it for decades. Well, we've been doing it for a decade or so now too. But anyway, check them out, folks. blueoystercult.com, and they're also available at thesportscircus.com. Just click on the logo on the partners page for Blue Oyster Cult. Applause for them. All right. Welcome back to everybody, TV and radio. Chicago Blue favorites as well over on Facebook. Thanks for joining us from over there. Now we're going to jump into the Home Run Derby. And it's a little bit of a different format this year. Not too much, but nonetheless, the 2026 Home Run Derby, of course, is going to take place in Philadelphia, in the city of unbrotherly love, if you know what I mean. It just seems like everybody hates everybody over there. Not really sure how the brotherly love, happens. So these are the same people that booed Santa Claus, threw snowballs at him and whatnot. Nonetheless, so it's over there, July 13th, at Citizen Bank Ballpark. Yes, we got to make sure that the sponsor is there, the naming rights. Anyway, so it begins at 5 o'clock Eastern time, or better yet, 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern, and it's going to stream live for the first time on one of those pay-per-view companies. I don't even want to say the name. I'll say it. It's on Netflix. They don't pay us anything, but why does it have to be there? How come it just can't be on regular TV so everybody can enjoy it just using regular linear broadcasting, right? The over-the-air broadcasting. Why does it have to be pay, subscription based? It's all a bunch of BS in my opinion. But there will be 8 batters. That's right. And of course, a couple of guys from the local team in Harper and Schwarber. But also you're going to see Junior Caminero, Ben Rice, Jack Caglianone. That's how you say Jack Caglione's name. That's how you really say it. Wilson Contreras. Well, that's a interesting individual to be in there. And Jordan Walker. Oh, and from the Chicago White Sox, that's right, Munetake Murakami. Yes! How exciting. Now, he was on the disabled list for 6 weeks. He had a serious hamstring pull. But it's going to be Murakami representing my beloved White Sox. That's kind of cool. So we got 2 guys from the American League Central. People say, well, it's the weakest division. Yeah, well, guess what? So it's going to be the Italian guy and the Japanese guy. And then over in Boston, you've got Wilson Contreras. I mean, he can hit him a country mile, too. A former St. Louis Cardinal. And also a current St. Louis Cardinal and Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker can really unleash him, too. I really wanted to see Woods in there from Washington because that guy hits an absolute mile. Now, there's also, remember, Schwarber and Harper, they both hit bombs. It's Schwarber that hits the big towering shots. And Junior Camanero's coming back. And Caminero hit a lot of ground balls in the last home run derby. So he wants a little retribution. And Ben Rice, big Ben Rice from the Yankees, that guy is no joke. That Duke just straight up swat. So now a little bit, there's some changes now, a little bit. So this year's home run derby, they're removing the traditional clock. Instead, the home run derby features a strict swing count. Instead, imagine that. So round one, each hitter is getting 20 swings. Sounds familiar. The top 4 contestants advance to the second round. Sounds consistent with the previous year. And of course, ties are broken by who hit the longest home run. So you don't have these big swing offs, I guess. Round 2, the top 4 batters are seeded 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3 and receive 15 swings each. Ties trigger a 3-swing swing-off. Okay, say that 5 times fast. And the finals, of course, you've got the final matchup gets 15 swings to determine the champion. So that's basically the field of 8. So let's go to our odds. All right, let's see if we could find home run derby odds. All right, I'm doing this along with you right now. Let's just see what the Vegas line looks like. Well, this is kind of interesting. Now, it's not really what I expected. Now, this is according to a very popular website that I am not going to give. I'm not going to say the name of it because, again, they're not paying me. So why the hell should I say that? But I'll tell you right now, they've got, here's the field. Okay, Junior Caminero is plus 480, so just under 5 to 1. So he's at 4.8 to 1. Put up $100, win 480 plus your original bet. So remember, Caminero was the runner-up looking for redemption, and he's arguably the hottest hitter alive right now, according to this particular betting site. And he nearly became the youngest Derby champion in history last summer in Atlanta before losing 18-15 to Cal Raleigh. But he's back for round 2, and he's been on an absolute tear. 12 homers in the last 16 games at one stretch. That's crazy, including a career-long 463-footer, and he was AL Player of the Week for a stretch that saw him pile up 7 homers, 15 RBIs in 6 games. Currently on pace to hit 45 homers. That's not bad. He hit, same amount in 2025. So a win would make him the first Rays player ever to win the home run derby. He's only 23. Imagine that. Boy, go get some of his rookie cards if you don't have them. And he'll surpass Juan Gonzalez as the youngest champion ever. And so they say, the betting site says the case against him is youth and inexperience at the very top of the mountain. And no player as young as Caminero currently has ever actually won the event. Coming this close once doesn't guarantee getting over the hump. That's why they've got him at plus 480. Ben Rice, same argument, but he's at 8.5 to 1. And this guy is a big banger. I mean, this guy can hit him. And he'll hit him a country mile, too. So you want to see some big home runs? Big Ben Rice, that's exactly what he does. How about Jack Caglianone? But you can call him Jack Caglione, as they say on television. How about this guy? He's at 6.5 to 1. Put up 100 and you win 650 plus your original bet or 750 total. And people say, well, the case for him, nobody in the field hits the ball harder in terms of pure damage. So they go to the exit velocity and all that other analytical BS. So the guy hits him hard, but doesn't hit him far. That's the whole thing with him. So you're not going to get a lot of flash. You're going to get home runs from him. Now, Wilson Contreras is at a lofty 11 to 1. And this guy can hit the monster shots, but he's getting kind of old. He's 34. So you say, well, can he do it? I don't know. He'd be the first Red Sox player to win in 16 years. Big Papi won it in 2010. But again, this guy is not a big bomber, and he's old. He's going to get tired, in my opinion. So when you look at these guys, you say, all right, well, how about Jordan Walker? I like Jordan Walker. I think he's probably one of those guys that can really get in there and steal this thing. This guy is good. Walker is really the best redemption arc in the sport. And look, a former top prospect who looked like he might be out of the majors literally a year ago. This guy is mashing. He is raking, and he's big, 6'6", 250, built like a ball player. And this guy's got all those tools, and it's just kind of come together for him. And you got to be excited for that. So when you think about the young kids in there, you say, okay, we're going to give them a shot, and let's see what happens. Now, when we come back from break, I'm going to get into, in my opinion, 3 fan favorites. All right, back here in a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come, going back to Home Run Derby, and then we're going to get into the All-Star game in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Step right up! The show is about to start! With a heart of fire and a restless heart.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure to check out the store at thesportscircus.com. Lots of great items, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, ball caps, beanie hats, sweatpants, sweat coats, pillows and blankets and mouse pads and travel mugs, coffee mugs, all kinds of great items with the clever Sports Circus logo on them. That's the store at thesportscircus.com. Pick up some really cool gear, and hey, guess what? Mention my name, Ringmaster Sal, for an extra 10% off your first order. All right. Yes! That's my patented yes! You don't use it without holding it. Otherwise, you never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? All right. Welcome back to everybody. TV, radio, you know who you are. All right, back here with the Home Run Derby. And so I mentioned who the field was. And the field, of course, it has some pretty good hitters. Junior Caminero, big bomber. Ben Rice, oh my. Jack Caglianone, but you can call him Jack Caglione like everybody else. He's in there with arguably the max exit velocity in Major League Baseball right now. He's right there in the 98th percentile, whatever. Wilson Contreras, the wily veteran who just plays the game with a chip on his shoulder. Jordan Walker, I really like Jordan Walker. I think he's going to do really well here. And then you've got a couple of hometown guys. You got Bryce Harper, and he's at 8.5 to 1. 8.5 to 1. That's a pretty good price. Now, Bryce doesn't hit the Titanic home runs. He just hits home runs. And he's also 33, just like you had Contreras at 34 years of age. A couple of older guys in there. Well, and guess what? We have yet another guy that's a little bit older too. We're going to get to him in a second. But Harper won the Home Run Derby 8 years ago in Washington. So he's becoming essentially one of only 3 players ever to win the event inside his own home ballpark. He's got that chance again. Right? So you never know what's going to happen there. But a repeat would make him just the 5th multi-time Home Run Derby champion. I mean, look, think about this. You've got a lot of guys that could join this party. And for some reason, the teams, the ownership, don't want them to exert themselves. Now, remember, they're hitting baseballs that are juiced in the first place. And you can look this up. Those baseballs travel a lot further than what they do in the regular games. And here's a little bit of trivia. When you look at the regular games, even right now, well, the regular game baseballs in Major League Baseball, they use the same one, just like AAA uses the same ball in the Pacific League and just AAA baseball, right? Well, guess what? AA and A ball, they don't use that ball. They use a different ball. And the ball is very, very friendly, if you know what I mean, for Major League Baseball. And now imagine those friendly baseballs. And guess what? Now we're going to juice them up just a little bit for Home Run Derby. That's why you'll get shots 460, 480, maybe even 500 foot. Those aren't the regular baseballs. If you think they are, well, just let me know when the Easter Bunny shows up at your house and brings you that wonderful, tasty Easter basket. Because that is essentially what you're talking about here, or what you're thinking about. So those baseballs are going to travel further. For a guy like Harper, that's great news. But for a guy like Kyle Schwarber, who's also another hometown guy, and this guy, he hits bona fide bombs. So I think the longest home runs that are going to be hit, I'll get to that in a second, could come from Schwarber and maybe another couple of players. I think Ben Rice is going to hit Titanic shots, and I do believe Jordan Walker is going to hit those too. But I also, at 470, so now look, Kyle Schwarber is at that plus 380. So you put up $100 to win 380 plus your $100 back. So that 100 up will get you 480 back. But then a late addition from the Chicago White Sox is Munetaka Murakami. He is at plus 470. Right, so he's at just under 5 to 1, 4.7 to 1. And so what's interesting about him, he's at plus 470. Schwarber is plus 380. And the only guys that are in that same area is Junior Caminero's plus 480. It's actually Murakami, believe it or not. He has the second best odds in the Home Run Derby. And now, if you haven't seen this guy play, this guy can hit them. And he hits like Ohtani. He hits moonshot monstrosities. I would have loved to see a square off of Ohtani and Murakami. Now, that would have been great. Have them on opposite sides of the bracket, and the possibility of those two guys facing off in the final. I think a lot of people would have loved to have seen that one. I would have absolutely loved to see it. And so you've got essentially a couple of left-handed sticks that could just hit the ball a country mile, and then throw in the fact that that ball is juiced. Look, it's going to be exciting watching Murakami hit. I'm a little concerned because of the hamstring pull and stuff. So I don't know if he's going to be swinging that hard. But this guy, look, last guy in, he might be the most physically gifted, pure power hitter in the field. And I think the only guy that would match up with him from a pure power standpoint would be Kyle Schwarber. And look, this guy's only 26. And he was the Japanese baseball superstar. He just smashed everything in sight for the Yakult Swallows before coming over to Major League Baseball. This guy's been an instant success and sensation for, yes, my beloved first place White Sox. Before his injury, he already had 20 homers and 41 RBIs, and this guy has already missed, 6-7 weeks of baseball. He would probably be right there in the lead in home runs in Major League Baseball if he didn't have the injury. But he still has 20 homers. He's slugging .560 in just his first 57 big league games. So he's played 57 games. Remember, the White Sox play, 95 games? This guy has missed, 38 games. And he still has 20 homers. So, look, this guy's got video game numbers. 99th percentile barrel rate. 100th percentile hard hit rate. You know, everyone's saying, well, Caglione, but you gotta know, Nate. That guy is at a 116 on his exit velocity. Look, half of Murakami's homers have gone at least 415 feet. And 8 of them have left the bat at over 110 miles an hour. This guy is a serious bopper. And they say, well, no rookie's ever won the home run derby. He's not really a rookie. I mean, he's a rookie to Major League Baseball, but this guy's been in the rodeo for a minute. So it's not as if he doesn't know what power is. He doesn't know what pressure is. He does. Yeah, he's coming off that really bad hamstring. It was a really bad situation, but I got to tell you, having Murakami in the lineup, boy, that really changes things. I mean, look, this is a really deep home run derby field. I mean, anybody could really win it. But I think you're going to see some titanic shots from a few of these guys. And those guys that hit the monster shots are not going to advance, but they're going to be exciting. It's kind of like watching Jose Canseco hit the ball. I'll never forget this. He hit the ball off the label in Toronto, off the label of the bat, into the third deck in left field. I don't think I've ever seen a ball in the modern game before, let's just say before Old Comiskey was torn down, Old Comiskey Park. You'd get roof shots. Ron Kittle, just call him Roof Shot Ron. I mean, this guy would hit monstrous home runs. But in today's time, and I'm thinking today's time because Canseco did play, he did play at the same time as Kittle, but he was at the back end of his career. But I look at a guy like Canseco with those kind of devastating home runs. I think we could see that from Murakami, from Schwarber, and Jordan Walker. These guys can really, and even I'm going to throw Ben Rice in there. These guys can hit the living daylights out of it. Cameron Arrow will hit big home runs, but he doesn't hit them at the scope of the other guys. But it's going to be very entertaining, and I'm really let down that they're doing this home run derby thing on essentially pay TV. I think it's kind of crappy. It's really it's kind of a downer. But nonetheless, I'm going to go to the All-Star game real quick because what we do have are All-Star teams. Now from the American League, it's the next day after Home Run Derby. Home Run Derby is on Monday, All-Star game on Tuesday. By the way, who do I think is going to win the Home Run Derby? I think Jordan Walker wins the Home Run Derby from the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, moving on. From the American League starters, catcher, Shane Langoliers, a really good one. First base, Nick Kurtz, but he's going to miss due to his injury. He's got a real problem. So you're going to have somebody else fill in, and I think Murakami may take first base because he does play first base for the White Sox, and he was added to the All-Star team. Second base, certainly worthy. Ernie Clement, he actually plays damn near every position on the team or on the field. Third base, Junior Caminero. That could have went any 2-3 different ways. I think even Miguel Vargas from the White Sox could have been starting there, as well as a few other guys. Shortstop, a lock with Bobby Witt Jr. Outfield, center field, Mike Trout. Does he deserve it? Maybe. Riley Green, outfield, Detroit Tigers. Does he deserve it? Maybe. Outfield, Cody Bellinger, New York Yankees. Does he deserve it? Absolutely. Designated hitter, Yordan Alvarez, a lock. Now, Vladdy Guerrero was elected to the All-Star first baseman, but of course he's not going to play. Nick Kurtz, he can't play either. And so maybe you're going to have a fill-in, like I said, Murakami. But also, you think about these reserves. Now, the reserves, Dylan Dingler from Detroit, catcher, good one. Adley Rutschman, catcher, Baltimore, good one. Infielder, overall first-round pick from a couple of years ago, Travis Bazzana, very good infielder, solid. Infield, Wilson Contreras, as we've just talked about with Boston, home run derby guy. Kevin McGonigal, Detroit, another infielder, very good one. Ben Rice, infielder. We already know about him. Miguel Vargas, third base, White Sox. Munetaka Murakami, first base, White Sox. Randy Arozarena, I'm surprised he didn't join the home run derby, out of Seattle. Outfielder, Cedric Rafael, a very good player. He is in the outfield. Tristan Peters, a late add to the All-Star game. And this guy just hit for the cycle for the White Sox. A very exciting rookie. What a great story. From the Savannah Bananas to Major League Baseball. Tristan Peters from the White Sox. Yandy Diaz as the DH. And starting pitchers, Dylan Cease. Starter, Messick. Martinez, Tampa. Rasmussen, Tampa. Joe Ryan. Schlittler, Yankees. Suarez, Boston. Michael Wacha, believe it or not, relief pitchers. Baker, Chapman, Latz, Cade Smith, Cleveland. He's probably going to be the guy. And Varland, National League. Starters, Drake Baldwin, catcher. He deserves it. Freddie Freeman, first base. Dodgers, deserves it. Ozzie Albies, very good second baseman. Atlanta. Max Muncy, Dodgers, third base. C.J. Abrams, absolutely a lock. Shortstop. Brandon Marsh, comeback player of the year, in my opinion. Philadelphia. Juan Soto, you know he's going to be there. Andy Pajes, having a great year. And Ohtani as the DH. Reserves, Contreras, Goodman, Arise, Harper, Otto Lopez, he deserves it. Matt Olson, just a bopper. Sal Stewart, definitely. Corbin Carroll, yes. Crow Armstrong, best WAR in baseball. Jordan Walker, James Wood, Kyle Schwarber, Ivan Herrera. Starting pitchers, Ashcraft from Pittsburgh, Burns, Luzardo, Meyer, The Miz, Rodriguez, Sale, Sanchez, Skeens, Webb, Yamamoto, Wroblewski, and Griffin. Closers, Duran, Iglesias, O'Brien, and Mason Miller. That rounds it out. We'll see you after the All-Star game. Until then, so long, everyone.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.